Hey, what do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Dan and I are excited to introduce our Buy Me a Coffee page. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and say, hey there, bub, we really appreciate what you do and want to support the show. Well, here's one way to do that without big corporations taking, 30% of the cut of your generosity. Just head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/BigBlueBanter and chip in if you'd like to support us directly. Every contribution means a lot, and it helps keep the show going strong. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for listening, and have a lovely day.
Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter, New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneider, joined as always my co-host Nick Filato. Little programming note at the top of the show here. For the foreseeable future, and it looks like, at least according to all the reports, Shane Bowen will be returning as Giants defensive coordinator for this next week. Maybe the rest of the season. For the foreseeable future, Nick and I will be doing one All-22 show. I think at this point, the crowd has spoken, given the views on the defensive shows, the downloads, everything that comes with it. People are interested in the Giants offense. For us, it's not only that you guys are not as interested in watching film on the Giants defense and our breakdowns. It's just that it's the same thing every week. Nick and I have talked about this, and we're in a lot of ways, we're running out of ways to talk about defense. You can just talk about the plays, go over them, but it's the same thing every week when it comes to the defense. I don't think anyone's really learning anything too much. We can learn about the players and how they play, and we'll still talk about it. This one show will include defense as well, but we're not going to do a whole show on this Shane Bowen defense. It's too much. It's too repetitive. And in addition to that, this guy's not going to be here past this year. I think that's beyond obvious.
Yeah, of course. No, but Dan, he blitzed. Oh, I see people make it a big deal. It's like, wow, this revolutionary idea of sending a fifth rusher. Whoa, wow, he did that while still running man coverage, just not having a rat in the hole behind to cover the middle of the field. Like, Shane Bowen is an unimaginative defensive coordinator who is not a great teacher, obviously, because the Giants consistently make the same mistakes in the run game with their run fits, the lack of physicality, the lack of accountability, which we saw a little bit with Mike Kafka actually imposing some accountability on certain players who were not living up to the standard, which I applaud for Mike Kafka. But overall, man, the defense it's the same stuff. At least we got a game out of Dexter Lawrence. He looked good on tape, which we'll talk about later in the podcast.
Great on tape. This was a vintage Dexter Lawrence performance, albeit against a really beat up offensive line. That was their backup center, right? That was what Jenkins was playing for them center. Yeah. So, I mean, it's great, but it's a little too
slide someone over. Yeah. But
yeah, it's too little too late on that front, at least for me. But he did play like his old self, and we'll talk about that. Where do you want to start on the offense, or do you want to start with some of the coaching stuff with Kafka?
Let's start with Mike Kafka. To use a Dan term, the 30,000-foot view, right?
There we go.
Yeah, we could start with that. Firstly, man, I mean, I thought Mike Kafka, and this isn't a massive deal, right? But I thought Mike Kafka promoting Elijah Chapman and Dalen Cambry to the active roster was almost an honor to players who have been doing everything the right way through the season, who have been toiling away on the practice squad, right? Like Cambry, you needed that special teams asset. I get that. And he made a special teams tackle, and you can see how fired up the team was when he did that. And then Chapman is somebody who had his role last year, who's just been on the practice squad, and now he had an offensive package, and he was also used on defense. I'm wondering if Dable was preventing him from playing, or was it just Raheem Nunez-Roches and what was going on there that led to Chapman up there? We haven't seen him earlier in the season, right? So I wanted to bring that up and just say that was a slight change. Also, the accountability that Mike Kafka seemed to, as I said earlier, impose on players throughout this roster who weren't doing the right thing. Firstly, we'll start here with Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter, it was reported by Dan Duggan that he was that he fell asleep and missed a walkthrough. It wasn't that, as Abdul Carter tweeted, he was getting treatment and he missed a walkthrough, but still he missed the walkthrough. He had some time conflictions there. I don't know a ton about that. And Duggan is one of the best on the beat, so don't give Duggan shit. Like, Duggan is an amazing reporter for the New York Giants. But regardless, Abdul Carter wasn't there, and he was sat out by Mike Kafka, coaching decision for that first drive. I just appreciate, because Dable ran somewhat of a lax ship while being very uptight and emotional on the sideline, this change of scenery of holding players accountable while also remaining stoic on the sideline and composed. And that's just something I kind of wanted to clap my hands towards Mike Kafka for, while also incorporating his entire coaching staff to assist him with the decision-making process, which didn't necessarily help the Giants. Like when they challenged that first challenge, like I was like, oh, Kafka, what are you doing? And look, And I felt like he answered the questions well when the media presented it to him on Monday morning, saying, hey, we had two angles. One of them looked like they were out of bounds. So I trusted what everyone was telling me upstairs. It did not work out. And then with the Wandale one, he got that one confused on the Monday morning press conference because Duggan was right. It was definitely flipped. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, he said that the way the refs were calling the fumble on that tight end where Demetrius Flanagan fouls knocked it out. And then they said it wasn't. That came after the Wandale Robinson play. So I kind of wanted the Wandale Robinson thing to be challenged. But anyways, Wandale Robinson should have held on to the football. That wasn't challenged. But overall, first game performance from Mike Kafka. Offense was humming. They scored 20 points with the third string quarterback. I didn't think it was that bad for the young coach.
I thought it was actually a really good start for him. And I want to address something from that report that stood out to me more than like the debate of, was Carter sleeping or was he getting treatment? I don't care about that. What stood out to me was that a player had told Duggan that this was not a uncommon thing for the Giants to have a player miss a meeting and get no discipline under Brian Daboll. And I think that's a really good sign for me, for Mike Kafka, because, there's no great organization that's, you could listen to what the Bills said, not the Bills, what Deion Dawkins from the Bills said this week about Keon Coleman. He's like, look, there's no more hand holding. You're going to miss a meeting or you're going to miss something. And you're not going to, you have to show up. Like, it's work, man. Like, if I was late for a big meeting at work, I would have to answer for that and it would be on me. And that's what these players have to. There's no just like, if you're a coach like Daboll and you're just letting it go, that adds up. Like, those types of things add up over time in any type of organization that you're involved in.
And other players see it, and they see it as a sign of weakness. You're running a loose ship. It's not a tight ship. You're allowing people to walk all over you. As a leader, that is step one, is that like you don't necessarily need to be a dick, right? But you want to impose standards, and then everybody who is underneath you needs to adhere to those standards. And when they don't, you need to set an example of them, or else they're not going to respect those standards. So it's about instilling respect, and it appears like that wasn't the case under Daboll.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, if you just look at what Kafka's done from that standpoint, it's good. But I also like what he's done from an offensive schematic standpoint. There's few things that stand out from this game. I know it's a lot of negativity surrounding a 2-9 team right now, but for starters, Nick, this was I think clearly, context considered, the Green Bay Packers is the opposing defense and defensive line, the best all-around game from the Giants offensive line since any game since the 2008 season. That's my statement. 17 years of watching Giants football in a row. I can't think of a game where the run blocking and pass blocking all around played better overall than in this game when you also factor in the context of who they were playing. And I bet if I look back game by game and factored in that context, I wouldn't find a single game where they played better. And I thought Kafka did a few different things. There was a lot more power gap concepts under this week. And I don't know if that was because Daboll was gone or just the matchup, but we saw a lot of players pulling. And by the way, Tyrone Tracy, who we'll talk about because I thought he had a phenomenal game, his best game of the season so far, seems to run better behind power gap. When they pulled Runyon or when they pulled whoever it was, Tracy's patience and his ability to tempo his runs plays well in power gap schemes when you're pulling linemen. And I thought they did a great job of that in this game. So I thought he mixed in better run concepts in this game that helped the run game generate up front. I think that he called a great game. The two screens were perfectly well timed by Mike Kafka. And I think overall, this Giants offense, when you consider the context, your third string quarterback, though, obviously should have been their second string quarterback. No Darius Slayton. You knock him for all you want, but he's still he still gets open from the outside, which no one, down to Isaiah Hodgins, right? No Scadaboo. Score 20 points against this defense despite all that, and despite your defense not putting you in good position to score or your special teams. All around, like you said last night, a 15-play drive, a 16-play drive. All around, it's a pretty damn great performance from Mike Kafka.
Yeah, you have guys like Isaiah Hodgins, who should have been on this roster a while ago,
right,
catching 5 for 57 in big high-leverage situations. Theo Johnson stepping up. Yeah, I get it. He had 3 catches. But those were 3 massive catches, and not easy catches, hand catches, tight coverage, toe drag swag along the sidelines too. So you had some players offensively who were stepping up. And to your point about the rushing attack, look, the Giants have pulled all season. They have run counter. But what I liked about the rushing attack in this game was in the second half, there was an adjustment. And they started running F counter without that second puller and just pull back counter, basically. So they would come out in I formation or weak or strong I, and Jameis Winston would go to hand the football off. Daniel Bellinger would start like he's going in one direction, and then he would loop to the backside. So you would get the Green Bay defense to bite up towards what they thought was the front side, the play side of the play, which ended up being the backside. And then you would have the kick out being or just the lead blocker, F lead, being Daniel Bellinger, and Devin Singletary. He's for all of his, he's not the most spectacular back. He's not the most exciting. He has excellent vision, and his one cut ability is, I think, the best on the team, other than maybe Scadab. I think he has a better one cut ability than a player like Tyrone Tracy Jr. He's very quick with that. And I thought Tracy Jr. played phenomenally in this game. The one screen that he caught that was blown up by the linebacker, he just bounced off of it and then ended up picking up a first down. That was great for the Giants' momentum. So the back stepped up. The rushing game, there were enough adjustments to keep it fresh so the Giants could run the football, and the Giants were owning the point of attack. Now, one thing with the Packers were trying to play too high, keep them in like 7-man spacing, right? And then at the last second, they would cheat that safety. And it was Xavier McKinney. A lot of the times it was also the Evan Williams, I think his name is, the Oregon kid, good safety as well. They would cheat him down into the box, but the Giants double teams at the point of attack, they were crisp, and the angles off the double teams, those transitions, whether it was John Michael Schmitz and John Runyon, or John Michael Schmitz and Greg Van Roten, or the tackles in the guard, they would climb up and they would locate that linebacker. And then again, those backs, they're shifty enough to find the crease, and the Giants were generating 8-yard rush here, 6-yard rush here. Then there would be like a 1-yard rush that was bottled up, and then they would come out with another one. So I think the rushing attack was the best we've seen all year, probably. And
by far, by the numbers, it was by far the best we've seen all year.
And this is against a pretty good run defense, dude.
Yes.
And then we're doing it when Quay Walker was out there as well. Now, Quay Walker ended up getting hurt a little bit, and that helped the Giants down the stretch of the game. But this is Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker. This is Micah Park. You got a good defense at the second level there for the Green Bay Packers, and the Giants are still able to kind of command the line of scrimmage.
Correct. And when I say that it was by far their best rushing performance of the year, I don't mean by the raw numbers. Statistically, I'm sure Scadaboo had some better games, but a lot of that was him doing things on his own. What I mean is by rushing yards over expected, where the Giants were by far and away their best game of the season in rushing yards over expected, and by lack of negative runs. I talked about this last night, but the Giants, they've had games where just so many plays have gone for negative runs. And like Nick said, there were a few plays, obviously, where it didn't work in the run game, but so many fewer than in recent weeks, or really the entire season. So I really like what they did up front there, and I really like basically everything they did. The offense did enough to win this football game. The defense, which had some moments at times in the game, just didn't finish so many plays. We talked about this at the top, and then just as usual, cracked when they needed them to do anything.
They just can't make a play when you need them to make a play.
And Love made some great throws too, by the way. I want to be clear. Love made some really good throws.
Absolutely. They were great throws, like pinpoint accuracy, and a great throw beats great coverage.
Right.
But some of those throws, it was like the cornerback could have made a play on the football. Tay Banks was one, and then the Cordell Flott one. Man, we like Cordell Flott. Think Cordell Flott's having a great season, his best season by far as a pro. You knock that ball away from Savion Williams, the Giants might win that football game. And
sure.
it's little plays like that. And then you have Corey Black surrendering the one to Christian Watson. That was just more of a phenomenal throw and catch by Watson. But it's just, you can't really necessarily rely too much on that 7th round rookie who's forced into action because the Giants want to bench players like Deonte Banks, because Deonte Banks is Deonte Banks and he should be benched. But then when you have Flott making that same mistake and another guy makes this mistake, and then this cornerback can't find the football, it's just like this team can't get out of their own way defensively.
You're right. You're 100% right. Unfortunately.
Yeah, man. And that's pretty consistent. But we will talk about the defense towards the end of the podcast. But offensively, man, like, look, Giants could have won this football game. The Giants offense, with all the injuries that they're dealing with, did enough to win this football game, and their defense just could not hold up their end of the couch, which has been the story of this season. The defense can force 3 and outs, and they could do this, and it's like, good. But that puts such a burden on the offense to actually really execute and thrive, because you can get that once. You're not going to get that twice from the Giants defense. It doesn't appear like at least consecutively during crunch time. They always fold like a weak lawn chair.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Guys, it's 2025. We got to stop waiting until things become emergencies. No more waiting until the night sweats turn into all-day sweats, or walking it off for 6 months stops working. Or you have to move your whole body just to turn your head. It's time to take our health seriously. And ZocDoc makes that easy by helping you find the right doctor fast. Working out is great, but real health takes more than the gym. It takes consistent annual checkups, getting things looked at when they feel off, and taking care of your mental health too. And hey, remember that appointment you were supposed to make a while back? That dentist cleaning you're overdue for? The annual checkup that's somehow 3 years behind? Or that mole you keep meaning to get checked? Go ahead and book it today. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, then instantly book them. You can filter by insurance, location, specialty, ratings, even preferences like male doctor, specific language, or next-day availability. And you'll see real appointment times, often within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes on the same day. I use this, and you should too. Stop putting off those appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/banter to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/banter. I still love a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink. Luckily, Sol's out-of-office gummies are available, and they're a game changer. They give you that same light, happy buzz you get from a drink, but without the hangover, the extra calories, or that foggy next morning. Just calm, relaxed, and social. The perfect way to unwind after a long day. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. They make delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products that help you relax, boost your mood, and just feel good in your own skin. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies are designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz that helps you chill out, get creative, or just take the edge off. And they come in 5 strengths, from a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their new 15 milligram gummy for when you want something a little more elevated. So bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Sol today. Right now, listeners get 30% off your entire order. Just go to getsol.com and use promo code BANTER. That's getsol.com, promo code BANTER for 30% off. Dan and I are excited to talk about the Big Blue Banter group chat we've got going on with Chat BCC, the group chat platform where you can interact with fans and hosts of your favorite podcasts. We've been using Chat BCC to talk to our listeners about the hottest topics in football and just to kind of shoot the breeze about whatever's on our mind. Every day, one of us is in that chat giving our thoughts and hearing from listeners on their takes on what's going on in football, what's going on with the New York Giants. It's a lot of fun. If you want to come crash our group chat, it's as easy as sending a text. Head to BigBlueBanter.chat in any URL, enter your number, and start chatting with us and the Big Blue Banter faithful.
That's been the situation for the Giants defense this year. Let's talk about the offense. Let's get into some play breakdowns, unless there's anything overarching more you wanted to hit on.
No, man, we can get into some play breakdowns here from the New York Giants offense, and let me just organize myself a little bit. But yeah, Dan, I came away pleased with Jameis Winston, right? Like, yeah, he could have thrown 3 interceptions. That's the Jameis Winston experience. He threw into that cover 2 flat area twice on the first and second drive, which would have been devastating. Neither was held onto by Carrington Valentine. But we'll start right there with that first drive. And this is the first third down conversion, the 3rd and 5 to Wan'Dale Robinson. This is Jameis Winston. Look, he has time in the pocket. He was under pressure a decent amount. I think I saw a stat from NFL Insights that he faced pressure on 48% of his dropbacks. Here you can see he hits that back foot. Everything is smooth. I think this is an interesting play call for the first Jameis Winston drop back pass. And it's just the deep horizontal crosses with the clear out. And it's a more deep passing concept, a staple of Brian Daboll's playbook. And you could see how the middle of the field comes wide open and Wan'Dale Robinson just sits down right in that spot right there. That's a good job by Wan'Dale. Good throw by Jameis Winston. First down.
It's a really tough catch by Wan'Dale too, taking the hit. Wan'Dale's such a unique player. Like, I feel like he makes a lot of these types of tough catches, but then you'll have that play where Jameis targeted him like on the back pylon, the front pylon on the right side. It's just like every time someone throws him that type of pass, he just never has a chance at him.
He can't really extend away from his frame. Man.
Yeah,
he has to let it in his body. Dude, like, again, I'm not like trying to make fun of the guy, but he has the shortest arms of any wide receiver to ever play wide receiver in the NFL with small hands.
It just makes me so hesitant to want to re-sign him despite all the good he brings. And he does bring good. It's just when you have that kind of limitation on the field, it really makes it tough to scheme, in my opinion. It's fine as like a gadget type player. I don't want him taking the snaps he's had. We need to figure this thing out too.
No, I know, man. I know for sure. Here is the 2nd and 10 later on in the drive. This dig
Backside
route
dig.
to Isaiah Hodgins. Backside dig, baby. You could see Jameis's eyes here, but you'll see it even better on the end zone. Looks to the smash concept. Got a smash concept towards the left side with Jalin Hyatt running the corner, and I think that's Wandale underneath. And the middle of the field is wide open.
Yeah, I feel like that was
Hodgins.
I was watching this back a few times. I was confused as to why those, and is that Quay Walker there? Like, I was confused as to why he was cheating over when they already had the other linebacker or whatever that was, whoever that was, near Theo Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why that happened either. You could see there's definitely a miscommunication unless they're doubling in and out on Theo, which I doubt they were doing.
Yeah, I doubt that was the
Or unless they thought Nixon. Nah, I doubt Nixon was supposed to be in that lane. So it looks like just a defensive breakdown.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, man. Like Isaiah Hodgins is such a determined route runner.
Yes.
Right? Like such a precise, determined route. He gets out of his breaks quickly. Again, he's not the most explosive player in the league.
I really like him.
Yeah, this is somebody who, like, again, I don't want to beat this dead horse. Should have been here.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah. I mean, like, people are mad about the Humphrey. People were mad last week, Nick. We didn't talk about this, but people were mad about the Humphrey thing last week when he was claimed by Brack Sweat. I personally didn't care. I thought that was a little bit over, like, rage bait on Joe Shane. Like, losing Humphrey to me means nothing.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I didn't think his tape was good here. He obviously had a good first game, but Hodgins is a player that, like, I actually think can do, like, he can run routes. Like, he's actually someone who can get open.
And he's much more athletic than Humphrey. Watch this chip too on the play by Theo. Giants were really looking at Micah Parsons. Theo Johnson's a dog as a blocker, man.
Yeah,
just a dog, dude. That guy drives his feet, gets his hands inside. I'm
excited. I know he's still unnatural at times, but I am excited about his development here.
So am I, man. So am I. And I've been really hard on Theo Johnson since his rookie season, but he's just so much potential. And it's the last 2 games you see it really start to come together. Like, I haven't seen a Theo Johnson play over the last 2 games that's pissed me off.
Right?
Have you?
Same.
I don't think so. Like, that was like a 2-3. That was like a 2-3 play thing even earlier in the season. Now
it used to be every game.
And remember, he missed the majority of his rookie season towards the end of the season, at least with the injuries. So, he's still a young player. Here is the touchdown rush by Devin Singletary out of shotgun. Just a good cut by Singletary.
Yeah, man. To press the hole and then jump cut. That's this run. There's some good blocking on this run, but this run never happens without Singletary's nuance of understanding the position. In my opinion, at least, he presses down, holds that middle linebacker or whatever that safety coming down, takes him out of the play, and then jump cuts.
Excellent breakdown, Dan. If you watch 33, watch Evan Williams. He's the safety creeping over the center right now, and watch how he drops down into the box and he fills right where Devin Singletary cut. And Devin Singletary is like 5'7", so he's hard to find back there. Yeah. And he runs behind these blocks. Greg Van Roten does an excellent job getting up to the second level off the combo block from John Michael Schmitz, who I felt like had maybe again one of his best games as a New York Giant.
He did.
Like John Michael Schmitz, I mean, we give him shit, man. I think
I'm starting to come around a little bit to JMS. He's starting to play much better football.
Yeah, and I just like he's not out of position nearly as much as he used to be, and he's finishing his blocks at a better rate. Like I don't know, I think he's becoming a player. And I say this, and right here he doesn't do the best job, even though I think this is more just Cooper really diagnosing this screen pass well. Right. And just great job by Tyrone Tracy Jr. to break out and then read the block, see Greg Van Roten, see Greg Van Roten and watch Xavier McKinney box Tyrone Tracy Jr. back to the inside, and he doesn't press it to the outside because you see how the other defender is going right down and has that outside contained. He breaks it back up field for like an extra 5 yards to secure that first down. Just an excellent play by Tyrone Tracy Jr. to pick up 20 yards on a screen pass.
His best game of the year by far.
Yeah, that's no question. He's kind of been suspect and missing for a lot of the season. And here's just the second touchdown by Devin Singletary. 3 guys in the backfield. We've seen this formation before, this T formation. Chapman being the lead blocker with Bellinger, and Singletary just follows his blocks in for the touchdown.
Yeah, the Giants have used this more than on a few occasions, and it's been pretty successful on a per-time basis. They don't use it often, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, and they also do like different things that they did in this game with the 1/3, was the 3rd one or 4th one, where they brought Jermaine Illuminor to the left side to be the left tackle, with Andrew Thomas being the left guard, and then Chris Manhertz to be the right tackle. So they'll use that, and then they'll always run towards the big tackles. But the Packers and opposing defenses are like, well, what if they throw, or what if they do? No, the Giants are going to run behind those guys. Here you see too, man, Chris Manhertz just handling his guy at the line of scrimmage too. Just a valuable tight end. I'm a big Chris Manhertz guy.
That's your boy.
That is. Here's the 4th and 3. This is just a great route and throw by Jameis Winston to Isaiah Hodgins and catch. Yeah, I mean, shotgun 4th and 3. He's the backside. You can see Jameis Winston go to his backside. This looked like it was going to be a backside dig, possibly. And then Isaiah Hodgins read the coverage, felt the leverage of the defender, went back outward, and Jameis Winston was able to avoid the rush.
Great job by Hodgins. It's another thing about him. Like he really understands space well, and he just understands playing the position better than a lot of the players. Like this is a great point by you. It looks like it's just going to be another dig route, and he just feels it out.
Dude, he used to do this all the time too when he was here. Like with Daniel Jones and in the red zone.
They got to keep this guy.
Yeah,
it's hard to find receivers in the NFL. We went to this situation where we're running out like Ray McLeod and Lil Jordan Humphrey types. Like we just need to bring this guy back.
Yeah, he scored a touchdown on this against Washington back in 2022.
Oh yeah, I do know that play you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the backside there as well. And you can see on the front side of this play, you just have a bunch formation. Daniel Bellinger runs the drag, split or switch release with Wan'Dale Robinson going outward, and then Theo Johnson running the vert and out. But good job by Jameis Winston to come off that and find Isaiah Hodgins. You can see Winston, watch the stripe of his helmet. He's checking. He's scanning. Micah Parsons eventually gets pressure, but he's handled fairly well with help from, I think that's Tyrone Tracy Jr. to help Jermaine Illuminor. But that's a good throw by Jameis, too. It's low. It's right over the top, though, of that underneath defender and right between two other sandwiching defenders. One inside and over the top, the other underneath and outside. That football needs to be right in this location and allows Hodgins just to dive and catch it on the ground. Just good job by Jameis.
And you saw, I'm sure, from just watching the end zone angle on a lot of these, the goalpost flags were just whipping through the wind. Like this was an insanely windy day to throw the football, and it was not easy to throw the ball in these conditions.
Luckily, we have a howitzer back there with Jameis Winston, and you can see that here. Play action, deep drop, just fires to Jalin Hyatt, who does a good job sitting in between these zone coverage with Wan'Dale Robinson extending that deep defender, forcing him to gain width to create this window. It was a good route combination as well.
Yeah, decent route by Hyatt.
Yeah, Hyatt is I mean, that's another thing about Kafka. I'm glad that he didn't throw Hyatt under the, like he's asked these questions, like what happened there? You said you were going to tell us what happened after you reviewed the film. And he's like, hey, there was just, miscommunication. He's not like, oh yeah, Jalin Hyatt sucks. He wasn't, you know what I mean? Like he's handling it well and not throwing his players under the bus, especially one who's struggled as much as Jalin Hyatt.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be able to get us any wins down the stretch. I think it's possible that he's going to do good things with this offense. It's just a matter of can they get anything out of the defense.
Exactly. And here are some of the bad signs with Jameis. Here's the 4th and 3 after that 16-play drive. The Giants go for it, 4th down. You have Jalin Hyatt as the backside X with Bellinger, Theo, and Wan'Dale Robinson. So no Hodgins on the field. I would have liked to see Hodgins on the field, but he wasn't. And you can see Jameis has people open here, but Jameis does this sometimes where he feels the pressure. There's still a pocket here. Jermaine Illuminor did a good job against Micah Parsons, but you're going to be weary of Micah Parsons. You can see Jameis just tries to do a little bit too much in the pocket and get sacked. But if you look at the top of the screen with Theo Johnson, Theo Johnson runs through Keyshawn Nixon.
This is a sweet
just throws him on the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what the hell, man? He just tossed me on the ground. It's like, dude,
I think
tried to jam
he's
him.
probably so far down in the progression, though.
Yeah.
For Winston, this is supposed to just be like a mesh concept. This is the one Bobby Skinner broke down that I talked about last night. If he's right, Bobby Skinner and Jalin Hyatt ran this at the wrong depth, I'm supposed to go underneath that. He would have been open, and Jameis would have found him coming back across.
So we've seen this specific play run a lot by the New York Giants. They ran this play earlier. It's just mesh wheel with a flag out of a bunch. And usually first off, Jalin Hyatt definitely, if that's the play, runs the wrong route. Now, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the mush or the mosh. And by the mush or the mosh, I mean mush is man under, mosh is man over. And that's just pertaining to the opposite drag route, the mirrored route on the other side. Has nothing to do with the deep spot route that Daniel Bellinger runs. And somehow Jalen Hyatt
I think you're right, though. Either way, he's not running either of what you just said.
It looks like to me that Wan'Dale Robinson stays very tight, and he looks like he's doing what he's supposed to do. And I think Hyatt I think Hyatt is distracted by the linebacker matching Devin Singletary on the wheel route. And then he tries to overcut that. And then he realizes he's at a depth where he's like, oh shit, I'm nowhere where I need to be. So let me just flow over the top of the other.
I think that's exactly what happened.
And Jameis might have been looking for one or two of them and saw like, I have no idea where that guy is. What the hell? And then that led to more of him holding on to the football. Again, it's just a theory. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it's been rough for Jalin Hyatt. And you can see Micah Parsons gets home, gets that sack on
It's quite amazing. I mean, like between Hyatt, Banks, and Neal, it's just quite amazing how those three have developed with the Giants. Neal placed on injured reserve this week after getting injured in practice. Career with the Giants almost definitely over. That was a 7th overall pick. They got absolutely nothing out of him.
He's arguably one of the biggest busts in recent Giants history, which says a lot.
It does.
The Giants have had some bad busts. I mean, you have Eric Flowers, you have DeAndre Baker. There's some rough draft picks.
The thing is, Nick, like we get on the Giants for not having depth at a lot of these positions, linebacker, whatever it may be, Nick, wide receiver, for example. And, throughout it, we've sometimes caveated it by saying, well, you can't fill every need every offseason. But dude, when you trade 3 picks to get Hyatt, right? 2 picks to get Deonte Banks, you're giving up those opportunities at depth right there, right then and there. You're giving up those opportunities to find a receiver or to
those
find
guys
a DB.
Have to be difference makers.
Right. And that's what we always said during the Gettleman era. And I don't want to be the guy who knocked Gettleman for things that I don't end up knocking Shane for. And when you do those things and you trade up, you are telling the world that I know more than you. I am out scouting you. I need to get these guys. It's what they did with Hyatt. It's what they did with Banks. And when it goes this way, and it's the opposite, it is a bigger burden for me. It is a bigger knock for me because if you just sat there and took Banks and Hyatt at the picks you had, that's different to me. That's just swinging and missing in the draft. You're going to have misses. But when you tell the world, I know more than you got to be right. And you can't, or at least you can't be this wrong.
I know. And that he's catastrophically wrong. Evan Neal thing is a swing and miss. It's a swing and miss that I think a lot of people would have swung
right.
Yeah. I mean, we liked Evan Neal on this podcast. We acknowledged that he wasn't perfect and a lot of his deficiencies ended up being bore out throughout his career. He never developed. And I also think, I don't want to sit here and question someone's mental toughness, but I think there's something within that realm that we have not, or we're not privy to and has not been explored because this is somebody who was an absolute stud at IMG Academy and at Alabama, and he's never really faced any football adversity. And then when he did, he kind of crumbled. Like we're just going to call it what it is. He did not rise to the occasion, right? Maybe in different scenery he will, but here with the New York Giants, he was a disaster. And
correct.
That could be a scouting thing. Maybe that's discerned through meetings, but either way, I don't think a lot of people saw this level of ineptitude from a player like Neal. And I think the Neal getting injured, I don't know what his injury is. I don't want to speak on it. I don't know anything. Right. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also like maybe he tweaked something little. And if he was a starter, he'd be out there playing, but he's Evan Neal and the Giants can just place him on IR and open up a roster spot. And that's a much wiser decision to do rather than have this guy not get dressed every Sunday, but be a part of the active roster and just do absolutely nothing except for take up a spot.
And it's so weird, Nick, because what makes that situation even weirder to me and really speaks, I don't want to say speaks to his character, but alludes to there potentially being issues with his work ethic and character, are that we've seen this coaching staff, Kafka and Dable, use extra linemen in key spots, whether it be using Chapman as a lead blocker, or like you said, occasionally having 2 tackles on one side. There are creative ways to have used Evan Neal in your run game that we just, even if he's not your starter, and we just don't do that. We didn't do that at all this year. At any point, despite him being part of the roster, he was never used as one of those like creative bring on an extra player as an offensive. And he's got the power and the size to do it. And I've seen like in the past, he had some really good combo blocks with Andrew Thomas in past years when they used him on the same side. All thrown out the wayside this year, and just kind of, this is not our guy, and we don't, or maybe it's, they don't believe in his work ethic or whatever it is. Like, it's just very interesting to me how that's developed in a really negative way for the Giants.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the busts the New York Giants have had, Evan Neal is up there as one of the top busts in recent memories for the New York Football Giants.
Certainly the weirdest bust, I would
say.
A
very weird one. Like, dude, the Giants had 2 top 10 picks with a new regime coming into town.
Right.
And luckily Kayvon is becoming a player, did not play in this game, but luckily he's becoming a player. And then the other one was Evan Neal. And it's just like, that was supposed to fix the offensive line situation, the offensive line that was maligned post Dave Gettleman, right? Like we chastised Dave Gettleman. You said hog mollies. We still suck at the offensive line. You signed Patrick Omame and Nate. And then we get Evan Neal, and Evan Neal 2 years in, we're trying to like rationalize and make excuses, right? Be like, he was injured. Maybe the injury had something to do with it. And you had a lot of like reports coming out of the Giants organization that the injuries is what hindered his development, when in reality, he's just not a good athlete. relative to
Right.
offensive tackles. He's not. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful. He has cinder blocks attached to his legs, and he has no lateral mobility. And you need to have those things when you're playing offensive tackle consistently at the league, or you're going to be exploited. Can he make it as a guard inside? Possibly, right? It's not going to happen here with the New York Giants. So
yeah. And it's classic Giants, Nick, by the way. Like they were really enthused. Like they had a higher grade on Neal. Obviously, they took him, but they were clearly in the camp of we like Neal, we like Charles Cross, because they took Kayvon Thibodeau before getting their choice of whatever tackle they won. They let the Panthers dictate that situation. If the Panthers had taken Evan Neal, the Giants would have taken Charles Cross over Icky. Charles Cross hasn't been amazing. He's had some injuries, but I just looked it up. Charles Cross has allowed just 1 sack this year, just 2 penalties, and just 3 quarterback hits. That's a playable starter. I mean, we have a Luminor, so it in some ways worked out in that sense. But like, it's just so interesting how it works, because they had guys in the building who were batting the tape, pounding the table for Charles Cross, and they liked his evaluation, and he had the footwork that you look for at the position. But obviously they went the other route, and we got nothing out of it.
Yeah, no. It's interesting too, Dan, because we did a podcast, I think, Charles Cross versus Evan Neal, and we were both higher than consensus on Cross, but I think ultimately we did go with Evan Neal. So we're both stupid. Nah, but
I thought Evan Neal was just gonna be in the same mold of Orlando Brown Jr. Like he's just so big, he will win, and it'll be hard to get around him. But I was very wrong on Evan Neal.
Yeah, well, I also look, he had some footwork issues and definitely had massive balance issues at Alabama.
Which we talked about, yeah.
Which we did talk about, but we just expected some development with Evan Neal. We didn't receive any.
Right.
With Cross, we said Cross was a better pass protector, a more natural pass protector, I think is what we said about Charles Cross relative to Evan Neal, but we didn't really love the air raid that he played in at Mississippi State, and we were a little nervous about him just basically blocking at a shotgun when it comes to running the football. Correct. Right? Like it was a very unconventional rushing attack. When you juxtapose it next to what the Giants were going to run with Brian Daboll, and just
or what we got to see with Evan Neal,
exactly. And Evan Neal, there was a ton of potential there, but yeah, best of luck wherever you go, Evan, because
I'm sure he'll somehow end up being good somewhere, because it's what happens to us.
Him, Tay Banks, and Jalin Hyatt are going to go.
I don't know about the other two.
Yeah, going to go to NFC East rivals. And
no, I think if you put Banks on like a Spags defense. No, because he's so lack of physicality. Spags wouldn't stand for that.
He needs a kick in the ass to.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he made a play in this game, Dan. I hope the YouTube audience isn't pissed about me just going back and forth, just rewinding these plays.
We're in week 11. We're at 2-9.
Yeah,
and James
we're having a good conversation about this right now. So I'll say this. With Banks, he made a play, I think it was on Jacobs, or it might have been on Manuel Wilson, where he filled the hole and he lowered his shoulder and he made the tackle. And it's like, okay, it wasn't like the most physical tackle, but he executed his assignment. And I'm like, that was good. That was a great job. And then there were 3 other plays where I'm like, what are you doing, Tay Banks? I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he just seems so shy into contact and so tentative and never knows what's going on and has no spatial. I don't know if I've watched a worse football player than Tay Banks on tape recently.
Wow.
That has the type of pedigree as Tay Banks. Now the Giants have trotted out, they trotted out some 6-round picks and some UDFAs out there that were just bad. The thing about Tay, he is, say what you want about him, he's good in coverage. He could stick on you. He's a sticky man coverage corner. When I say football player, I'm more so speaking on the intangibles of being where I'm supposed
football
to be,
IQ,
what is going
physicality,
on, football IQ, physicality, want, desire, all of these things that you would hope a football player who's been playing the sport his entire life would possess. Banks possesses none of them other than very high level, dare I say, borderline elite type of athletic ability and ability to stick in coverage. But again, you can be able to do that when the football's in the air. Zero instincts.
Of course, and the instincts are everything in football.
Yeah.
We know that. Patrick Surtain is a worse athlete than Deonte Banks. I think everyone would agree with that. And maybe some wouldn't because of his length. He is a 70,000, he's a considerably better cornerback than Deonte Banks. Why? He's got instincts. He's got technique. He has understands the game well.
understands where to be, what leverage to
Right.
execute,
Exactly.
timing, all of that, man. Like the
Yes.
subtleties of it, like Banks, like
It's
that
a hard
one.
position to play. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah.
This is not easy. We've had a lot of busts at this position. And even guys that we like, Nick, have been traded. Like Roger McCreary, he got traded for a bag of peanuts, right? A 5th round pick or whatever it was.
Yo, Emmanuel Forbes Army.
I know.
Rise up,
I thought
baby.
I saw that today. He
Rise
got
up,
tagged in that.
baby.
Forbes with Chris
People
Shula over
tagging
there
him,
at the
yeah.
Rams. He's revived his career. What a signing. I mean, dude, the stat, like, we don't have to get into this right now. And this is not the be all end all when it comes to hiring a coach or believing that somebody is good at what they do. But this Rams defense and what they've done. So this was tweeted by Sosa. I don't know how to pronounce this guy. Sosa Kremenjas or something.
Sosa's cool. Yeah.
Whatever. Sosa. He said the Rams defense this year, they have 2 first-round picks, Jared Verse, and he named Emmanuel Forbes as one of them. But Emmanuel Forbes was a first-round pick who was cut by his former team. It's not even like the Rams drafted him. So just 2 first-round picks, 4 UDFAs are starting for the Rams this year. And when we complain about depth and talent for the Giants, and we say, oh, well, its problem is defense's scheme, but it's also a talent issue. Just keep in mind that the Rams are starting 4 UDFAs on their defense. They have the second cheapest defense in football per salary cap. 4 UDFAs, second cheapest. They're number 2 in the NFL in defensive EPA per play. They're 7th in pressures. They've allowed the second fewest points in the NFL. And yet, through all that, they have the 4th most turnovers created in the NFL. It's a pretty damn good resume for this dude, Shula.
No, it's an excellent resume. I wonder if he's better than Shane Bowen. I have no idea though. No, I'm very intrigued by him. I am. And dude, watching Jared Verse, I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, Verse is awesome. Like Verse is very, very legit football player.
Great Dane, stand up, baby.
We talked about him in the pre-draft too, as like somebody who we like to tape more than, not that Giants were ever like really going to consider drafting him that year.
Yeah. Well, he was my number one my guy in that draft, I think.
Yes.
Like I just, it didn't matter what scheme, but he landed in such a good spot and he's balling out.
He did.
But yeah, we'll finish the offensive plays, and you guys have watched this like 9 times already. But it's just a screen, and it's just well executed screen though. Yeah, like, look at that blocking from JMS, man. Like getting up to the second level and taking the right angle, and then using that outside shoulder to pin. Like you could see how that one player, the linebacker, is flowing through the. I love how the Giants run a wide receiver directly at this linebacker, just like eye candy and traffic that he has to work around. He gets too far to the out. He has to contain, so he gets too far to the outside. And then Tyrone Tracy Jr. does such a good job recognizing that, cutting back to the inside, using his athletic ability to outrun players and fight with Micah Parsons while also allowing JMS to throw that block. Just great job by Tyrone Tracy Jr. in this game. That's why he was 451 in this one.
Yep, his best game of the year.
This says 3rd and 5, but this is a 3rd and 7 catch to Theo Johnson over the middle of the field. Man, hands catch, tight coverage.
Yeah,
big
really
time
good ball placement too by Jameis.
Yeah, good pocket. You see Andrew gets pushed back a little bit, but good pocket. Yep, right where it needs to be. Good job by Theo. This is another play by Theo Johnson. 3rd and 13. Catch over the middle of the field. Sets up a 4th and short, but strong hands catch. Now we're going to have that Hodgins dig. This is on the next play. After this, you'll see. Man, keep showing these hands like this, Theo Johnson. For real. Yeah. Here's the next play, 4th and 2. Isaiah Hodgins. Like, look at this route. Creates that space. Watch the top of the break. That right there. You see that head nod? You can even see it on this, man. That little boop, 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 little head nod that gets that DB just back enough on roller skates. And then the DB, you'll watch the DB's inside foot. That step back right there. He gave that inside angle because of Isaiah Hodgins' little shoulder and head fake and how crisp he is coming in and out of his breaks.
And we saw that all throughout 2022 when he was on the team, dude. It's really just it's eye-opening in the sense of like, how did the Giants not sign this guy earlier? He knew the system. He could have stepped right in for Jackson Dart when we needed him. Someone will and should ask that. One of these beat writers should and will ask that of Shane when he finally speaks at the week 14 bye week. And I better get some kind. We better get some kind of answer out of Joe Shane.
No, I agree, man, because this is inexcusable. Like it
really is, dude.
Like routing people up. He might like, dude. Look, this might be ridiculous. Like he might be better than Darius Slade. Like I don't think that's the craziest thing to say.
I don't either, because on paper, you look at the two and you're like, well, Darius Slayton is way more explosive looking than this kid in space and over the top. But there's other aspects to playing receiver. It's kind of like the Singletary discussion, dude. It's like, well, this guy is way more nuanced in his route running, Isaiah Hodgins. He has much better hands than Darius Slayton. He's tougher. He like the route you showed before where he's running the dig and he understands the leverage and breaks back outside for Jameis. Like those are things we just wouldn't see a lot from Darius Slayton, but we'll see it from him.
Exactly. And the reason why I bring that up is I think Darius Slayton, like his explosiveness and his athletic ability and his ability to take the top off of defenses, that's an invaluable trait. But the lack of consistency with Darius Slayton is something that is within his profile. Whereas Isaiah Hodgins doesn't offer that type of speed. He offers a big body. He offers somebody who is a comparable route runner to Darius Slayton. I can argue that maybe Hodgins is a little bit better at the top of the break than a Darius Slayton
Possibly,
is.
Yeah.
The release off the line of scrimmage, maybe you'll say is Darius Slayton. But ultimately, I'd probably say it's Slayton because of that game-breaking speed and ability. But the lack of consistency is a big thing that we've seen rear its ugly head a lot this season. Regardless, the sheer fact that Isaiah Hodgins was basically here this entire time for us to pluck, to add to this roster, to pair with Darius Slayton, that's such an indictment on the Giants for not doing it. Was it Brian Dable? Was it Joe Shane? I don't know, but what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah, making easy mistakes to avoid. It's also weird that he was on the Steelers practice squad, and like the Steelers really have struggled to find any kind of consistency outside of Metcalf at receiver, and they never promoted him either. I think there's just a bias against wide receiver types like Isaiah Hodgins, who are not very fast looking, and have been net and didn't have draft capital behind them, but is a really good player, honestly.
Yeah, he's solid, man, and he came up big in this game. That was a great catch by Theo Johnson, if you're watching, and
like I would love to just in some ways like revive our entire wide receiver core around Hodgins and Neighbors. We can't because we paid Slayton, but just go clean slate on the thing and just move forward with the idea of like, let's build out the O-line and we'll find guys like these aren't, you need speed. You have that with Neighbors though. You have that with Neighbors.
I would love to get I'm trying to think of somebody in the NFL right now, Dan, who is like the speedster that the Giants need. Like we want the speedster that we wanted Jalin Hyatt to become. But he just didn't.
I don't know if I even want that for Dart. Like, if I want more of like,
I want it to open up the middle of the field.
I know
because Hyatt is not reliable, like a Darnell Mooney or something. Now Mooney would cost too much. You would need somebody coming out of college who has a similar type of profile to a Darnell Mooney, and you could argue maybe that's like a Darius Slayton. Like I think those are comparable players. Mooney's a slightly better player, I would say, than Darius Slayton. I don't know what your take is. You probably have seen more Mooney than I have, but
I think he's slightly better. Yeah, he's better at the catch point. He's better at tracking.
Yeah, but the Giants, I think that could benefit the Giants. But yeah, I mean, Neighbors, if he's back here, you're getting a safety over the top, and it's just going to open up so much more. Here's the interception, 3rd and 6, 40 seconds left in the game. I just don't know what Jalin Hyatt's thinking here, man. Like you're running a corner, you can see Jameis is throwing it with anticipation well before the break, and it does look like he just like quits on it, right? I guess he thought like, oh, that safety's going over there, I should just sit. But like the throw was already made. The decision was made to throw the football. You need to be where the quarterback thinks you're going to be.
And you probably know that like you're taught as an NFL receiver, any receiver at any level, like the quarterback, his job is to throw this on time with anticipation. So you have to anticipate as a receiver that that all things are going to go according to plan. He's going to throw with anticipation, which means you're not going to have time to sit down in what you consider to be a soft spot. And like, he's not going to have time to just like look for you. You know what I mean? Like the whole point of the play is to throw on time.
Yeah. And I'm wondering like, did Hyatt see the linebacker and the cornerback? Like, I'm not sure. Did he think the cornerback was going to sink underneath? Like, I'm trying to wonder why he did what he did. Cause he's not even like, he's like breaking it off at the goal line and turning back to the quarterback. He's just like running at the safety and then like stopping his feet and then being like, oh wait, is the football thrown? Like, I just would have loved to know exactly what he was thinking there. It's a mistake. They happen. I'm not trying to kick Hyatt while he's down. I'm really not, but I just don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, me either.
All right, those are all the offensive plays, Dan. We can quickly run through some superlatives before we knock out the defense and talk about Shane Bowen. Sure. And if we do that, my unheralded player in this game, just because he had 3 catches, was Theo Johnson, and because I've been hard on Theo Johnson. And I think Theo Johnson had a damn good game, and he's a dog as a blocker, and he's coming along as a second-year tight end. So Theo Johnson is my unheralded player.
I gave it to Singletary, but it could be various players on the offense side of the ball. Singletary, Theo Johnson, Tyrone Tracy, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, Runyon. It was a really good game for a lot of offensive Giants players against a tough defense.
Best throw for me, I said the 4th and short to Isaiah Hodgins, the one that we broke down about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, that would have to be the best throw. It wasn't really a game where Jameis made a lot of high-level throws. I mean, he made some backside digs that were nice. The throw to Wandell at the start of the game was pretty nice too, but it certainly wasn't like watching Jackson dart from a high-level throw standpoint.
Yeah, I think the conditions had something to do with that as well.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Best player overall, I went with Tyrone Tracy Jr., man.
I respect that call. He's in the mix. For me, I just went with Andrew Thomas. Like, just watching Andrew Thomas. He didn't have that many reps against Parsons, but eliminated him on some of those reps. Just generally speaking, I think he plays the most consistent brand of football of any tackle I've ever watched.
He does. He's excellent. He had like 3 plays though that that stuck out to me, where I was like, one was on a run where Kingsley and Abare just like knocked him backwards, and then he got beat around the edge twice by not Micah Parsons, and I was like, this is odd, but like it didn't necessarily affect the play because he's so good that he's still able to get enough.
He always recovers.
He recovers very well, but it's still like he had to recover, meaning he didn't execute the technique perfectly in the beginning, and maybe a better rusher would have exploited that a little bit more. Player we expected to see more from, I mean, I would say Jalin Hyatt, but I don't expect to see anything from Jalin Hyatt. And I'm not saying that to be, an ass, but like, I don't really have anybody, man. I felt like
big NA for me.
Yeah. And if it was anybody, it would be Hyatt. But
yeah, but he doesn't count because we're not expecting anything from him. But yeah, the Giants offense played well, like to a T.
Pass blocking, I had 8-2.
Yeah, I went with 8-6. I mean, this is a really difficult matchup for this Giants offense. There were some third downs where it looked like everyone was blocked up for it was crazy, some of these pockets that he had to work with.
I know. And then run blocking, I had a 7-4.
Yeah, we haven't gone over. When's the last? I don't think we went over like 6 at any point in the run blocking this year. I went 7-7. This was by far their best run blocking, and the stats showed it.
Yeah, no, and people will be like, "Oh, why isn't it higher?" It's like I still like don't think the Giants are this commanding.
No, we're not moving people.
Bodies, I think it's more good coaching, smart play calling, very adaptive running backs, and the Giants as a unit offensively just working together very well, which really like speaks to the run blocking overall. But I still think this overall offensive line lacks a certain physicality that I think Giant fans would like to see.
That's personnel based, I think.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think John Michael Smith is an overly physical player. I don't think Runyon is an over physically player. I don't think Illuminor is an overly physical player. And even Van Roten, who's just an older player, and it's hard to play with that kind of power and pop. And to some extent, like Andrew Thomas isn't the most road grading tackle either. They need to add infusion of talent on their offensive line, just from the sense of like, why not? Why not add more to this around Dart? But I really think, and this is going to be for whoever does get hired, if it's not Kafka retained, the Giants are going to have to step in and pay Carmen Brasillo a lot of money and make sure that the next head coach brings back Carmen Brasillo, no matter who it is. It has to be done.
Look, man, this offense, dude, the Giants are the only team in the NFL who put 30 points on the Eagles and the Broncos.
That's crazy.
That's why it's such a weird team and a weird season. It's like, yeah, the Giants suck. Like, I'll be the first person to say that, but this is a competitive, shitty team. Like,
you said it best. Like yesterday, you're like, for years we were just toiling away with, if we ever get a quarterback, if we ever get an offensive line, we somehow got both things, and we're still horrible. It's just like such a Giants fan type of reality to live in.
Yeah, I hate that defeatist mindset, but it is true, right?
It's realist mindset.
100%. But like my point is, the Giants are putting themselves in positions where if they execute on 1 or 2 plays, they win football games. True. That wasn't the case in like previous seasons, right? Like they're competitive here, but they're not winning because they're still not good. And they haven't developed that necessary trait to finish in clutch situations, that winning mentality. They seem to have like, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but they do seem to have a loser mentality on defense.
I agree.
When every time it's like that, well, the Giants can win if they hold them. They just don't hold them, right? And the one time they did was against a Chargers team who was playing like 3rd, 4th string guys on their offensive line, and who lost Joe Alt after like the first drive of the game, right?
True.
And so we just saw the Chargers have a West Coast to East Coast 1 o'clock start, which we talk about, right? And they got their asses kicked by the Jacksonville
without those 2 tackles in too.
They
can't run. It's so true.
And I think the Giants could have had like maybe, I'm not even joking, like 12 sacks in that game if it wasn't Justin Herbert, if it was a middle of the road quarterback, right? If it was Sam Darnold, who's playing out of his mind this year, I think the Giants might have sacked him like 12 times in that game. But Herbert got rid of the football so like right at the right, and the timing was messed up and they were dropping. But remember that game? But my overall point is, the Giants defense needs so much help to actually do their job.
I know.
And that sucks, man.
Yeah. But
speaking of the Giants defense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is a reality that we live in, but it is interesting when you do compare something like we did earlier with Shula and what he's working with on the Rams defense, which again, second cheapest defense in the NFL, 4 UDFA starting, and he's still finding a way to dominate. Like it has to, it's not all coaching, but it's got to be some, it's a lot of coaching.
It definitely is. Coaching's a big part of it. And look, I think this defense is, I think they know the situation they're in from a coaching perspective.
Like even just getting them to buy in coaching, not just schemes, just like getting every player to buy in at all times. That's something Shula has clearly done with the Rams. And it's clear that we haven't bought in here, right? Like it's clear these players aren't bought into Bowen's scheme.
To transition to the defense, man. I mean, you're 100% right. Like how many times can we go over the same exact mistakes? Not finding the football at the catch point, not protecting backside gaps, over pursuing, not containing. How many times can this happen? How many times can Shane Bowen tell these players what to do and then not do it? And then those guys get trotted out there again. That's why I applaud Mike Kafka for benching Drew Phillips and for benching Tay Banks partially in this game, putting in Corey Black and Nick Jones, who probably shouldn't be seeing the field on defense. But for whatever reason, and I haven't necessarily identified what Drew Phillips did wrong. I actually don't know. If somebody hears about that or was able to pick up on that, please let me know. But when it comes to Tay Banks, we all know what like Tay Banks' issues are, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Giants didn't want to play him unless it was on third. Remember early in the season when the Giants would roll out the split Cordell Flott and Tay Banks, and it was like, whenever Tay Banks is out there, we're running man coverage. It's just like, dude, what are we doing? And you saw how Green Bay knew exactly what the Giants were doing defensively in these third and short situations.
I felt like that was the case so much more in this game, even than previous games.
Yeah, no, man. But we already talked about the Abdul Carter situation. Look, my assessment on Carter hasn't changed, right? From what I said yesterday. Look, the kid, I think the game is a little bit too fast for him. He's still talented enough to have an impact for sure. He had 2 pressures in this game. We saw those 2 pressures, quick interior pressures, but he hasn't developed a full array of pass rushing moves, and he gets eliminated too frequently right now. And he's not living up to that top 3 overall pick. He has 35 pressures on the year. I think he is, I think some people knock him maybe a little bit harder than I would, because I see the talent and I see some of the plays that he does make that then end up as stats favoring Brian Burns and this player and that player. But overall, it's inconsistent. It's not something that's really reliable at this moment. We need to get more from him.
I think some of it is just like, I expected him to potentially, in some ways, revolutionize the defense in the sense of, well, if you look at the splits this year, Nick, for the player who is likely going to win the award of Defensive Rookie of the Year over Abdul Carter, even though Carter came in as the heavy favorite. That player, Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker on the Browns, you look at the splits of the Browns defense with and without him, it's night and day. They're a totally different defense. He means that much to their defense. And he had a phenomenal game yesterday against the Ravens, almost helped them win that game on his own. And it's like, I expected Carter to come in and have that kind of impact on the Giants defense, no matter who's running it, what the scheme is, whatever it may be. Like if Schlesinger can come in and have that kind of impact, they're totally different positions and players, obviously, but it's not the point. The point is, I thought he would be that kind of difference-making player rather than just somebody who's like on the defense and makes plays and has cool reps where like, like the sack didn't go to him, but he earned that sack, which has happened a ton with Carter, but just more explosive splash plays. It's hard to explain, but you watch a player like Schlesinger, who we loved in this draft class, and it's just further every year I get more evidence that the Giants need a linebacker like him.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And Carter, dude, he played 49 of the 55 defensive snaps, right? Like he was out there a lot.
Yeah, once they missed that first drive, he played every other snap, I think.
Yeah, he played every snap out there. And he had some impact plays, but again, it's lacking. It's a microcosm of the Giants. It's lacking like that true finishing ability. Like Abdul Carter is making plays, but he's not doing enough, and he's not getting those sacks, and he's not finishing these plays, and he's out of position a little bit too much, and he's chasing a little bit too much, and that's hurting the overall continuity of the defense. All of those things are true. He's a young player. I still remain incredibly high on Abdul Carter, but I just want to see more consistency in finishing from him.
Yep, agreed with you on that.
Yeah, there was a little bit more blitzing, I think, than normal in this game, but nothing a ton. A lot of 5-man blitzes. Giants were nickel
It's always
most of
like
the
the
time.
second. It's like we talk about this before the show, but it's not like the blitzing I want. It's not like put a bunch of guys on a line of scrimmage, drop some, bail or rush some, bail some. It's like a second level guy blitzing at, and he's picked up. Like they get picked up a lot. It doesn't seem to work.
It's because they're predictable.
Yeah,
like the predictability isn't just because of coverage; it's because of the blitzing too. Like the Packers, like watch their protection. They're picking it up like every time.
That's my point. Yeah.
They know exactly
like how many
where
times
it's
did we
from.
watch and break down? This is a good point to this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
you're
I
good.
just wanted to get this out. There were so many times I remember us doing these all-22 breakdowns of the Giants defense under Wink Martindale and us like pointing out and you breaking down in such a great way.
Gap.
Yes. How many times opposing teams, offensive linemen, were had wasted blockers, meaning there were offensive linemen who was blocking nobody. How many times have we seen that this year?
All time, man. Oh, no, Wink all the time. This year,
Wink, it was all the time. How many times have we seen that this year?
Rarely.
Very, very rarely. That's the bottom line with what we mean. Yeah, send a couple extra guys, Shane Bowen. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for you to confuse the goddamn offensive line and opposing quarterbacks. For F's sake, like just figure this out, man. Like this should not be that hard to do.
No, and he's not great at it at all.
And the Packers have backup offensive linemen in, dude. We should be teeing off on these situations. Like every other time in my history as a fan, when the Giants were down to their bad offensive linemen, we got screwed. Our offensive line was confused, and they got just destroyed week after week. Why aren't we the team that does that? We have so many talented guys up front. We're wasting them.
Yeah, the Giants don't. Again, we've talked about it a lot. The Giants are unimaginative defensively, and they have a coordinator who is not somebody who I think has a heavy playbook that features a lot of what we're asking for, and also his play calling in general is rather conservative.
Yes.
And I see people be like, "Oh, he did blitz." Like that's beyond the point.
Not what we're talking
you can
about.
blitz all you want if the opposing protection knows what the blitz is going to be, and they pass it off,
and they know the coverage behind it,
that it doesn't matter if you're really blitz, right? You just have one less guy in coverage, and then the protection is going to pick up. They have 5.
Which I feel like doesn't even matter anyway. How many guys we have in coverage, because our second level is never in a pass lane ever.
No, it's.
Not ever, but very rarely. It's another very rarely. It's amazing how poor this defense looks on film. Like considering what they have, like people can say, like, because I saw somebody today, Nick, who was like, this is BS by you. The Giants have half their secondaries injured. I'm like, did you not just watch Sunday Night Football where the Lions had literally their entire starting secondary injured? They had one starter out there, Branch, and then he got injured in game. I think he continued to play through. They stymied the Eagles offense with 4 backups in the secondary. It's not like, oh my God, there's injuries. Everyone has injuries. Every NFL team has injuries, some more than the Giants.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's really out there advocating that Shane Bowen is doing a good job with the injuries that are happening, or like Shane Bowen's.
No, I think people are just saying it's not his fault because of the injuries.
No, that's bogus. Like, look, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. And the Giants do have injuries. They also have people behind those injured players who might not be up to par. So that could be interpreted as a win for the people making the claim that you just suggested. But to sit here and act like Shane Bowen has these detailed game plans specific to the opponent that he is going against, and then executes that well and calls it well, that is asinine. That is ridiculous. Okay. Like Shane Bowen is in so far over his head as a defensive coordinator at this point. But I mean, again, how many times can I come on this show and say this? We've been saying this stuff since last year, right? Like
over and over. We're like a broken record at this point.
No, exactly. It is what it is. I don't want to beat this dead horse, but the injuries are one thing. Shane Bowen being the coordinator is a completely separate thing that hinders the overall upside of the personnel that the Giants do have, healthy or not healthy.
Yep.
Speaking of different personnel, though, we did see Elijah Chapman out there. He had one nice little bull rush. He knocked the guy back into Jordan Love. It was nice. But other than that, man, I saw him on the ground a lot. I saw Chapman getting buried a decent amount. But yeah, no, Giants like to run man coverage on those 3rd and short. Packers knew exactly what was going on. Giants did blitz. Packers protection knew exactly how to pick it up. Chris Brooks is just going to manhandle Demetrius Flanagan fouls in pass protection like he's Cordell Flott, like he's a little cornerback. It was like pathetic to see, to be honest. And I'm not saying that Flanagan fouls is just like you just got owned by a running back in pass protection. Linebackers should never get owned by a running back in pass. Like the running back's job, we say lose slow enough for tight ends. That's what the running back's job is. Just get in the way, right? To allow the football to get off. But that was an incredible rep by Brooks against Flanagan Fowles. But yeah,
it really was.
It's a very disappointing performance by a defense that is very disappointing, albeit they have very exciting play, like all pro players. Like Brian Burns is playing at an all pro level right now. Brian Burns, one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. Kayvon's playing good football, did not play in this game. Dex had his best game of the season with 4 pressures, tying his league high, which he only has 22 on or his season high. He only has 22 on the season though, which is, that's not good for Dexter Lawrence. We're in week 11 right now.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year.
Typical for him. Yeah.
No, not at all. But, I also don't think he's being maximized, and yeah. But here's some defensive plays we want to get into.
All that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all that. What?
I just think it's like he's like so sick and tired of this situation.
I get that too. Yeah, it's not. I mean, watch any of his interviews. You're gonna sit here and say like he's pissed about losing. He's
and also the thing with Dex is like he's mostly led through his play on the field. I don't think he's the best leader personally.
Oh, 100% agree. Yeah,
just in his comments and the fact that he didn't say anything to Abdul Carter after that. Like I just don't like. He said I said nothing to him about missing the meeting. Like, dude, you got to say you're Dexter Lawrence. Like you got to say something. I think in those spots. Yeah,
that's something that I picked up on a little while ago. I brought it up maybe like 6 weeks ago or something, like early in the season when the Giants were sucking. Because it's just when you look at Dex and then you look at Brian Burns and you're just like, those are two completely different leadership styles. And like me, I would run through the wall for Brian Burns if I was a rookie on the New York Giants. Just like watch him. Every play, the guy is going 100%.
It's crazy.
Never takes a play off. Never. Just like he is the consummate professional that any coach would want on his team.
Is that the best? No, it can't be, because obviously it could be. Well, it might be the best move Joe Shane's ever made. It's probably Jackson Dart, if we want to give him credit for that. It's just hard to know how much Shane deserves credit for that.
True. All right. Well, here's a 2nd and 10, first quarter, 9:43. Packers' first drive. This ends up counting as a rush. It's just a little flare pass to Josh Jacobs, and look, the Giants they're contained on the outside. They can't track him down. They allow him to get outside, and he picks up 15 freaking yards, dude, on a 2nd and 10. It's stuff like this, bro. It's stuff like this that hurts the Giants. It's a little flare pass, and you can see if I pause it right here on YouTube, you have 4 pursuing defenders. None of them get there. You see Drew Phillips just get gobbled by Dontavian Wicks, and then Tay Banks can't get off of Luke Musgrave's block.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't even work to the outside. I don't even exactly know like what's going on there, or why none of those 2 cornerbacks can get there. You have Dane Belton undercut to try to loop around, and he's just slow enough to not get to Josh Jacobs. Jacobs picks up another
pancakes Drew Phillips.
Another 7 yards. Like what is Phillips and then Banks? Like Phillips.
I don't even like the angle Belton takes either.
No, Phillips is getting bitched, right? Like that's gonna happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You have Flanagan Fowles also miss his angle. He's not athletic enough to get outside the numbers to make the tackle on Josh. Like, what does Tay Banks do? Like, Tay Banks can't squeeze this off the sideline. Like, Tay Banks is getting blocked towards the sideline.
I know.
But he doesn't go towards this. It doesn't make any freaking sense. It's almost
true.
It's almost like he is like containing to the outside. Like, does he like I just don't really exactly understand what he's doing, but I say that a lot when I cover Tay Banks. Speaking of Tay Banks screwing up, here's another Tay Banks rep where you'll look. This is a end around to Bo Melton.
Team should run this once a game against the Giants. By the way, I tweeted about this. Like, we are never stopping a play like this.
No, the Giants, no, absolutely not. Like, watch number 2. It's a condensed formation to the field side, so you have 3 eligible receivers towards the field side. That puts Tay Banks basically on the hash. Yeah. And he's on the hash right now, right by the screw of the Giants helmet. If you're watching on YouTube, Bo Melton, they go into the mesh point and they just go end around. And you can see Tay Banks just has no idea where the football is. Doesn't read the blocks. Tay Banks is standing in the middle of the field as one of the outside cornerbacks for like 5 seconds before Bo Melton is like 8 yards down the field and Javon Holland has to chase him down out of bounds. This is like, what are we doing here? Cordell Flott gets outside. He contains, but it's just Cordell Flott and 2 blockers.
Right.
Like no one else over there. And then Holland has to come down from depth to make this tackle. It's just like, what the, like, does Tay Banks not see like how Christian Watson is blocking and how the offensive line blocks and like how that's not what an inside run looks like. Like, what are
Yeah.
you looking at, bro? He's just so no instincts whatsoever, dude.
Lack of IQ, lack of football awareness.
Yeah, like you'll see it here. Like, watch, just sitting there, man. What is he doing?
Wow. It's terrible.
Yeah. Hold on one
Just
second.
terrible.
Outside.
Phoenix making his weekly appearance on the podcast. He's told to get outside. Here's the thing with Phoenix, though. If you let him, the problem, I feel bad for Phoenix. Every time he is outside, Nick opens the door. Like I was once recording a podcast from Nick's house, and you just see that face. He's looking up at you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's just so sad that he feels like you left him out of something. He feels
Oh,
left
yeah.
out a lot.
Yeah.
Which I feel bad about for Phoenix.
Yeah, he's rarely left out of things. That's
what I mean.
Like he gets left out of, it's because he deserves to get left out of it. Like right now, I'm recording a podcast, right? We'll go over the plays in a little bit. I'm recording a podcast, and he's whining because he wants his dinner, and his dinner is supposed to be right at around this time. But like he can wait a little bit. He got a late breakfast, right? You know what I'm saying? So he can wait a little bit. And don't even get me started when I bring friends over or other people over. He's trying to hump them. He's trying to do everything. Like this dog has no respect for me, right? Like he's running outside the door, right? This dog has no respect for me. I bring, somebody over. He's trying to hump him, and I'm just like, what are you doing? It doesn't even. It could be a friend. It could be my mom. Like, it's just, what are you doing, dog? Like he's
a horny dog. That
he has no balls. I don't get it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how he stayed so horny without the balls.
It's just. I'm messing around. It's just a way to, I think, express energy. Like he just has a lot of energy and doesn't know what to do.
For a bulldog, I've never honestly seen until Phoenix a bulldog with the kind of energy that he has. Every other bulldog maybe it's just the types of bulldogs I've encountered, but they're just like, they can barely move. They can't even go on walks. They do nothing around the house. Like this is like the first bulldog that's like jacked up with an insane frame and massive amounts of energy. Good for Phoenix.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. I love him. I'm going to feed him here in a little bit, but let's finish this podcast. Here we got Malik Willis, zone read, 16 yards. You can see Carter. I guess it's block down, step down he sees, and he steps down a little bit too far, gets sucked way too far in.
Yeah.
Pause. And Malik Willis keeps the football, runs around Carter. And then Tay Banks, he keeps contained to his credit, but can't make the tackle, of course. Like that's way too much to ask. And ends up being a 16-yard gain. Now here's the touchdown to Watson. This is just an insane throw by Willis.
Someone described this as like a glitch. I feel like it was like watching a Madden glitch.
It definitely seemed that way, right? Because Brian Burns annihilates Malik Willis, and you'll watch it on the end zone. Like this ball almost was knocked down by Dane Belton. Cordell Flott almost got his hand on it, and Tay Banks is in covered. Now Tay Banks surrenders inside leverage just a little bit here, right? Like he allows that inside shoulder to come open, but like he's right on the hip.
He's right
like
there.
He's right there, and somehow, of course, the Giants can't force an incompletion. Ends up being a touchdown. Crazy. Oh man, it's tough. It's tough. Here's just a deep flag route to Golden. I said Gordon. And you can see, I think maybe Cordell Flott thought that Drew Phillips was going to sink underneath this, so he overplayed it to the inside because Flott bites on that double move.
I think so too. Yeah.
Nobody, but like Drew Phillips saw Jordan Love go to the flat and act as if he was going to run. And this is a good contain by, I think that's Bobby Okereke to go from the other side, or maybe it's Brian Burns. But let's see who it is. No, it's Roy Robertson Harris, who's pretty good player for the Giants.
He's been unheralded on tape.
Yeah, but like you see how this is good to contain him. And I think Drew Phillips didn't know he was going to be there, so he surrendered the underneath coverage, and then Flott. I also think Flott just got beat too. So that ends up being a long gain for the rookie. And now here's the touchdown run by.
Look at the effort from Banks. It's so crazy.
Yeah, he is what he's doing. And you'll see, man. But like, what is Fowles doing here? Like he protects the backside gap, but nobody protects the front side gap, right? Because you have the double team, triple team on Dexter Lawrence, right? Triple team on Dexter Lawrence, Roy Robertson Harris. He can't collapse to the inside, but he puts his hip into the backside gap. You'll see that. He got that hip in that backside gap. Fowles jumps into that backside gap with Roy Robertson Harris.
Yeah.
And I don't really know exactly what Okereke is doing here either, because Okereke and Dane Belton seem to both be fitting that same gap. And it's maybe because it was a triple team and Okereke was going to take the B. And then you have maybe Belton take the C, but you also have Chapman right there with Abdul Carter, because it's basically it's a double Y set with a wide receiver behind. So it's a heavy formation. And the Giants have just been a beused against these formations, man.
Sure.
We've talked about it for so long. You overload one side, they are terrible with the backside. So fouls on this play, I think he sees the B gap on the backside come open, and he just removes himself and jumps into that B gap because the Giants have been so susceptible there for so long, but then no one takes that A gap. So I'm just like, who is that exactly? Now, the fouls has not been great with these run fits, and Muasau was equally as bad.
Right.
And I just think the Giants, from a run fit and a structure standpoint, they are terrible at guarding overloaded formations. It doesn't even need to be multiple offensive linemen. It could be a wide receiver in there like we see here, right? And Giants just can't fit it. And you see the good job by Dobbs to root out Javon Holland, and that leaves Banks as the unblocked
defender. Look how hesitant Banks is at all times.
I mean, yeah, he's Tay Banks. And look, he barely goes for the football. He doesn't know where to be. He's a bad football
such
player.
A shit rep by him.
Yeah, he's not a good football player, man. Is what it is. And then here's the pick route to
once a week. We get one of these happen to our defense in the red zone once a week,
and they do it legally within the 1 yard frame. Javon Holland gets knocked off by Christian Watson. Easy touchdown. Is what it is. And then we're gonna get that wild throw here next in a little bit, but. Of course, I knew we were in man coverage. This is the Savion Williams play. 3rd and 10. Like, if Cordell Flott makes this play, the Giants might win this foot. Like, it's crazy. Right. 5:56 left.
They were up 2019 at this point.
2019. Yep. 2019. Important year. And look, he's in coverage too. It's just the rookie makes
a sick throw.
And the Giants, man, they send 5, and it's just all picked up. It's just all picked up. Love has all the time in the world. Like, this is when the pass rush needs to get home. Right. It shouldn't be Brian Burns who's getting double teamed that gets home on this play.
Right.
And we're going to watch it. Darius Alexander, who can't win one-on-one matchups. And then
we have double team Darius on Dexter Lawrence.
Double team on Dex.
Carter loses his rep bad.
Yeah, he tries to go inside, and then he just gets gobbled up by the tackle. And it's just like that's his one move is to spin inside, like threaten up the arc a little bit, man.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so he showed an array of pass rushing moves. I felt like in training, he does not know how to use them yet.
Agreed.
He does not know how to apply it. He doesn't know how to set his pass rushing moves up yet. I thought maybe he could, and with the early reps that we saw, he just does not know how to do that quite yet. And this is just an A gap blitz, and watch Brooks just eliminate Flanagan. That is one of the best running back. That's one of the best reps I've ever seen. Like that. I don't know much about him. That guy's
I actually saw today a bunch of Packers accounts tweeting this is why Chris Brooks prays, that type of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
he apparently has a reputation for this.
Well, he's going to be in the NFL for a long time if he can do this, because this is one of the best reps I've ever seen in pass protection.
Yeah, for a running back, that's a really hard job to do for a running. That's insane.
Yeah. And then
usually they have to either just dive low or throw their whole body into him. He just stood him up like an offensive lineman.
And this is just tell me, Dan, that this isn't just the New York Giants in a nutshell, right? They blitz, they send 5, It's picked up very easily. No one can win their one-on-one matchup. Brian Burns has to go all the way from the opposite side after getting hit by a tight end to actually facilitate the throw. And then it's put into a place that would make a very tough back shoulder catch for a rookie 4th-round pick, Savion Williams, with Cordell Flott in great coverage, and Flott can't identify the football, and it's caught for a first down. It's just of course it was. And later on in that drive, here's just an insane throw by Jordan Love to Christian Watson for a touchdown over.
There's nothing you can do about this.
Corey Black. Yeah. It's far hash, man. Just incredible throw. But that's it.
Throw. Yep. All right. Let's run through some superlatives real quick on the defensive side of the ball. Unheralded player for you?
I guess unheralded player. I'll go with Javon Holland.
Okay.
I don't really think he did anything spectacular either. This defense, just in general, I just want to go Brian Burns for everything.
I went with Roy Robertson Harris. I just really like his game, but it's not like he played some kind of phenomenal game. Highest effort was Burns for me. It's always Burns for me.
Same. Best overall player for me was Dex this year.
I finally gave one to Dex too. I finally gave Dexter his first game ball of the year as best player on film, which says a lot that we're in week 11. Player you expected to see more from?
Cordell Flott.
Okay. I think that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of players I could put on here. For me, I was considering a player like Flott, but I put Holland in here. Not that he had that bad of a game or anything like that. I expect more from this guy. We paid him so much money to be some kind of playmaker on this defense. And I feel like we just don't get any plays from him. really ever.
Yeah, and he got picked on the one. I said
Yep.
the unheralded player, but like yeah, like I don't really have an unheralded player. I guess it would be Roy Robertson Harris.
No, but I know why you put him as unheralded because he's still doing a lot for this defense. Like
Well,
without him, we're screwed. Like,
yeah, well, it's like well, you don't have Tyler Nubin there, and I felt like
yeah,
Dane Belton's like fine. He took the penalty down the field, like, but like he's not somebody I want to be playing
me
that many
either.
snaps. He's more of a bit player, right? But I see like I see a frustration from Holland because everything in front of him sucks, and he has to come from depth and make these
Right.
plays. It's similar to Nubin, only
Right.
Holland can make these plays because Holland isn't a deficient athlete like Nubin is.
Yeah, and maybe that's a better way to describe it. He shouldn't maybe be my player expecting more from him because why would I expect more in this specific scheme from him? He's playing at such depth. It's not ideal for any safety at any level. Pass rushing grade 1 through 10.
Out of 5-1, Burns and Dex had a bunch of
Dex
nice
had a good
reps.
game.
I
Yeah.
think they had 16 pressures in total, but they just didn't rise to the occasion when they really needed to. So it was, probably should be lower, but I went with 5-1.
I went with 3-1 here. While I did think Dex had his best game, the context for me, how many injuries the Packers have on the offensive line, and then just factoring in every time I watch the third down. It's weird, though. It's hard for me to, like, I tweeted about it. It's hard for me to blame the pass rush when it's like the Packers know where to go with the football in these 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7s, and the ball's out pretty fast. And like pass rush never really has a chance because they know where to go with the ball because our defense is so obvious. So maybe 3-1 is too low. I think 5 is probably fine around mid range. What about run defense? Ugh.
Oh, the 3-6.
There were some decent, whenever they ran inside, we did an okay job.
Other than the touchdown run, but yeah.
And then the touchdown where it just was like, that was just really bad. But it was like a 2-2 for me because overall it's just bad, including that touchdown run.
Yeah.
Bad defense, man. We're really bad
know.
this year on defense.
We're pathetic, bro. It sucks.
It's crazy. They added so much, man. They drafted Abdul Carter. They drafted Darius Alexander. They signed Adebo. They signed Holland. Like, it's really insane how bad they've gotten on but to be fair, Nick, you said this best in the offseason. I'm pretty sure I remember you saying this. Did they really do enough to improve their run defense? And the answer to that was really just Darius Alexander, Roy Robertson Harris. They didn't really add a single linebacker that could potentially help them.
That was the number one thing we thought. That was our number one concern.
All their resources went into improving their pass defense,
which needed to be improved.
What? Which what?
Their pass defense needed to be improved, but their run defense was also, I think, a much more glaring issue with the roster in general. You're relying on an older player like Darius Alexander to step in, and like Darius, he received I think 16 snaps in this game. He's had I would say a suboptimal season.
Sure.
But he's flashed maybe a little bit, but he's not even like, you can't rely on anybody to make a play in a one-on-one situation, really.
No.
Other than maybe Roy Robertson Harris. But what are we talking about here? Where you're talking about like Roy Robertson Harris as like your clear-cut second best interior defensive lineman. That's not a roster that is going to compete for anything.
Right. And then they didn't add anything at linebacker, which was a big problem, especially when we knew like Okereke is doing the most he can, but he's being asked to do so much. And it's a bad situation all around for this Giants defense. Why I tweeted today, like, it's not just coaching, it's talent too. And they don't have the right pieces to stop their run right now. So, which is crazy. They also have like Dexter Lawrence. This shouldn't be that bad of a run defense, but it is. All right, Nick, anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm going to go feed Phoenix.
Yeah, he's begging you to feed him. So go do that. For all you other people listening in, thank you so much for supporting the show. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.